Hello and welcome to another video. So it's June and you know what that means. Happy Pride, everyone. Give yourself a round of applause for getting to June 2021. It's been rough, but we're here, and today I'm going to share with you some of my favorite LGBTQ plus books. So you guys are always asking for recommendations and for a bookshelf tour, and this is basically a bookshelf tour of my rainbow bookshelf because ironically enough, most of the books in my rainbow bookshelf are LGBTQIA plus books. So today I'm gonna share some of those with you guys in honor of June, the month of Pride. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's go in rainbow order. So first of all, we have Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Yeah, by Becky. So you probably know what this one is about. Trigger warning, Simon gets outed in this book, but yeah, I would really recommend it, and the movie is also very, very cute. I just fell in love with this book. If you want a simple coming-of-age book that focuses on romance but also on friendship, this is the one for you, and I think this would be a great beach read. Then we have What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli again and Adam Silvera, and this one, if you like meet cutes, if you like New York, if you like relationships succeeding against all odds, then this is the one for you. This one also focuses a bit more than the one before on race and how that affects the way that people view you and how that affects you inside the gay community. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely pick this one up. Then moving on to yellow, we have Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this one has bisexual representation and it also includes a lot of mental health issues. This one is definitely adult, so if you're under the age of 18, I would not recommend picking this up. But this one, as you can see in the cover, both of the main characters are people of color and one of them is bisexual. So there's a lot of representation and it's really good. It focuses on both of the characters and I really like it. If you want bisexual representation, this is a good one to go for. Then moving on to green, I thought I would give a little bit of representation for those straight allies. And because this, I think, is a great summer read, I am giving you Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. By now you know what this is about. I'm just giving this to you as an option of a nice, easy beach read. It looks long, but it's super fast. I think one of the characters here, I feel like Reagan might be bisexual. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I just don't remember that much. But this is still a great read. So if what you're looking for is a very straight couple, this is the one for you. I actually think all my green books are actually straight books. So I don't know how that happened. But next up we have The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I just recently read this one and it was so good. I think this would be a great beach read just because it's so engaging and it's only like 300 pages, so you get through it super quick. It's about this guy who gets stuck in a time loop trying to save this girl he meets at a college party. So if that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what will. Also, this is a very straight book, but I think anyone could enjoy this, and this has great BIPOC representation. Finally, we have our last straight book, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. And yes, this is also one that is adult. Definitely don't read it. Please don't read it if you're under 18. Please, please, please don't read it. It's basically what the title says. It's two co-workers who are forced to work together and hate each other. Or do they? Before we get to the next section of recommendations, please leave a like and subscribe because it really does help my channel. Okay, let's go. Moving on to the blue section, I forgot I had this book and it's also straight, but bear with me, it's the last one, I promise. And that is Instant Karma by Marissa Mayer. This is a book about enemies to lovers or haters to lovers, but it's actually pretty one-sided. This girl here hates this guy
because he's a slacker, he doesn't do anything, the only thing he does is play video games.
But when she is forced to work at the same place where this guy works as a volunteer, maybe feelings develop, and there's a lot of not like other girls because I listen to the Beatles. This sounds like I don't like the book. I actually really enjoyed it, and this is a great beach read. And this is the last book I have for straight couple recommendations. Let's move on to more gay stuff. Moving on, we have one of my first 5-star reads of the year, and that is Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. It has BIPOC representation, it has body size representation, it has LGBTQ plus representation, it has everything you could ever hope for. This is basically like a Grease, the musical reimagining, but instead of being Danny Zuko is just basically an asshole for ignoring Sandy, it's this guy who is not out in this school, and that's why he has to pretend like he's somebody else. And this book made me laugh so much. I'm looking forward to reading all the books by this author. It just made me so freaking happy, and definitely pick this one up. Then we have The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. I actually hesitate a little bit to recommend this just because it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. This one's basically about two couples. They meet at a con, and it's a retelling of The Princess and the Pauper, The Prince and the Pauper, but with an actress and a fangirl. It does have, I think it's bisexual or lesbian representation, but it does have a sapphic couple, so if you like that, then I recommend this one. There are much better books with representation, but just in case this is a fandom that you enjoy, then pick this one up. Then we have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, am I right? Yes, okay. By Benjamin Alire-Sainz. And honestly, I read this one 4 years ago. My friend bought it for me, and I remember really liking it. It's a story about two gay boys, but I think it's based around like 1980 or 1990, so around the 80s or the 90s. So you can imagine how homophobic people were back then, even more than they are now. So they had a hard time, and it's just like really good, very immersive. Also, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda does the audiobook for this book, which is weird, but also pretty cool. One of them, at least, was Latino, and it just had really good growing up themes, and I really enjoyed it. This might be a little bit more mature than the other ones on the list. Finally, we're moving a little bit into purple territory, and we have You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I really enjoyed this one. It was a very quick read because it's honestly pretty short. It's about this one girl who is kind of not forced, but put into the position where she has to run for prom queen in order to get a scholarship, in order to get into her dream college. And as you can see, it's a black protagonist who is also a lesbian, and the main couple is a sapphic couple. So it's really cute. Also, did I mention they're both running for prom queen, so a lot of drama and hilarity ensues. Then we have a book that is the only one, surprisingly, on my bookshelf that could even come close to representing who I am, and that is Loveless by Alice Oseman. If you've been on my channel for a hot second, you know that I love Alice, and when this book came out, I was so happy. I had never seen myself represented in a book. This wasn't like 100% my experience, obviously, but I still really liked it. This one has a lot of representation for a lot of different identities, so I recommend you really look into this one. The main character is aro-ace, which means asexual and aromantic, and it's just her experience with finding herself and coming to terms with what that means for her while going through her first year of college with her two best friends and maybe a new best friend. So I really like this one. I recommend it to anyone who's aro-ace or anyone who just wants to learn more about that part of the community. And if you have more aro-ace recommendations, please leave them down below, because I can't believe this is the only one I have on my bookshelf. It's literally like, it should be illegal. I should have way more. Then moving on to the pink, we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Cassie McKinston. This one is also more like mature. I would say at least 16 or 17 to read this one, maybe 18 because it has some mature scenes. But this is basically a book about the first son of the United States hating, then falling in love with the grandson of the Queen of England, I think. This guy over here, and this guy is also Latino, and he goes through the process of finding out if he is actually bisexual, and he is gay, I think. So it's a gay relationship between a bisexual and a gay guy. So it's really good, all sorts of representation. It might be a little bit idealistic from time to time, but I don't mind that. I can have suspension of disbelief in order to enjoy this because it made me so freaking happy. It's also about 2020 elections, so if you like that, maybe pick this up. I don't know. And just because I thought we needed more like sapphic representation, we have our first and only graphic novel recommendation, and that is Lara Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Rosemary Valero O'Connell and Mariko Tamaki. So this one has sapphic representation, as you can probably tell in the cover, maybe not. It actually doesn't focus on the romantic relationship as much as you might think. It's a book that is here to show you that even though you might become obsessed with a romantic relationship that is not working, the people who are always going to be there for you are your friends, so you really shouldn't freaking ignore them and just have them like as backup if the romantic relationship doesn't come through. And I thought that was great. I obviously love friendships, and sometimes I'm like, why are these characters doing this for their romantic relationships when obviously their friends should matter more in this moment? I really enjoy that part of it. So this one is also a bit more mature, but I think anyone could read it, it might go over their heads. And then finally, we have our one and only black book, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by, I always forget your name, I'm sorry, you're one of my new favorite authors, but your name will not stick to my brain, and that's Taylor Jenkins Reid. And oh my god, if you can audiobook this, please do, it's beautiful. Okay, so it's a book set in the 1950s in Hollywood, and it's about this young girl, Evelyn Hugo, climbing her way up the ranks of Hollywood and going into stardom, and it tells the story of her 7 husbands. And the main couple in this, I don't think this is really a spoiler, but spoiler alert just in case, it's a lesbian woman with a bisexual woman. So if you like that kind of thing, also has a sapphic relationship as the main relationship, and I really like this. This also might be more adult than the other ones that I have on the list. So if you're younger, stick to the other recommendations that I gave you. But if you're over 18, then definitely pick this one up. This is beautiful and you are going to enjoy it. I don't think anyone could read this and not enjoy it. Also, one of the main characters on this is called Celia. So, you know, representation for me. So those were basically all of my beach reads recommendations and recommendations for books you can read during Pride. And please leave a like if you like this video. Comment down below if you have any recommendations for me, whether they have aro, ace representation, or they're just like LGBTQ representation in general. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell button so you get notifications every time I post another video. I post videos twice a week, so that's every Monday and Friday, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!